نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربي زدني علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما وزدنا علما اللهم صل وسلم على نبينا محمد. Right, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuhu. I have seen Zandria joining as well. All right, let's get started inshallah. We are on ayah number 124 of Surah Al Baqarah, the longest surah in the Quran. And we are now start with the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Right? These ayahs, the ayahs that are going to go from here on, is about Ibrahim alayhi salam and the beautiful du'as that he has made, and you know the what he has asked for in his du'as, and an indication of why Allah had called him as his friend. Khalilullah was the title given to him, and the reason why he was called so. So, subhanallah, this was Ibrahim al Islam, and he was called Abul Anbiya. He was called the father of all the prophets. Why so? Why so? Because he had two sons, Ismail al Islam and Ishaq al Islam. And Ismail al Islam, it was from his progeny that we had Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Ishaq al Islam, from him came Yaqub al Islam, and then from Yaqub al Islam came the 12 sons, which made the Bani Israel. So they were the children of Israel. So Banu Ismail and Bani Israel both were from Ibrahim al Islam. So all the prophets started from Ibrahim al Islam, and that's the reason why he was called the father of all the prophets. Another very interesting thing is the fact that he was called, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him this title of Khalilullah, which means the friend of Allah, and he has been mentioned in the Quran. We mention him in the Darood that we read, and Subhanallah, he is somebody whom we are connected to on a literally on a daily basis. We mention his name many times, just as much as we mentioned our Rasul's name in our Darood. We mention Ibrahim al Islam's name as well. Why? Because he was an ummah by himself, a whole nation by himself. The kind of character that he had, the fact that he had this extreme gratitude, extreme obedience. Subhanallah, every test that he had to face, he was steadfast, and he had complete tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His iman was super high, subhanallah. So the title of Khalilullah, the friend of Allah, the one who kept turning to Allah for every single thing, suits him so well, subhanallah. Right. So this ayah tells us about a little more about him. Let's start. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذ ابتلى إبراهيم ربه بكلمات فأتمهن قال إني جاعلك للناس إماما قال ومن ذريتي قال لا ينال عهد الظالمين. وَإِذِ ibtala, from the word ibtala means to test. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling here, when we tested Ibrahim alayhi salam, and who tested him? Rabbuhu, his Rabb, his Lord, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he tested him, bikalimatin, with commands, with orders, with the different situations. And what did he do? فَأَتَمَّهُنْ, he completely gave himself to the test that Allah put him through. Right? Now we'll try and understand this word kalimat in a little bit more. The word kalimatin basically refers to all the commands or orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these can be categorized into two. There is something called qawni, which means everything that is related to your life, the universe, life, death, your birth, good times, bad times, whatever is happening in your life. And then there is something called sharai. Sharai is basically the legal rulings, what everything that's connected to your ibadah. So, subhanAllah, every command that Allah gives, it falls in either one of these categories. So, um, Ibrahim alayhis salam was tested on both in the Qawni category as well as in the Sharai category. We'll just see how he was tested in the Qawni category. How was his birth? He was born into an idol maker's family. His family was not Muslim, right? His father used to make idols, right? And when he went to his father and told him that this is wrong and you should be giving up this, his father abused him, physically abused him, verbally abused him. And subhanallah, he was also, he also was part of the plan of throwing him into the fire. I mean, his father was really, difficult on him, and literally threw him out of the family kind of a thing. So subhanallah, he did go through a very difficult family situation. When he was 80 years old, he was told to circumcise himself, and at that time they did not have any surgical instruments and anesthesia and all that. He had to circumcise himself with stone, subhanallah. But he did it because Allah commanded him to do so. So he was tested. He was tested in on this front. And when it came to the legal, the Shariah commands, he had to convey a message to a nation which did not believe in what he believed. I mean, he was all alone in an entire society of idol worshippers, right? If you look at his life, he had to leave his son Ismail, whom he got when he was almost 80 years old, or yeah, 80 or 120. I'm not getting that right. I think 120. He had to leave this child in the desert. And then 13 years later, he's told to sacrifice this child. I mean, he is tested over and over and over again with all kinds of situation. But in every test, he never asks, why me? Why am I going through this? I mean, I came out of the society of idol worshippers. I recognized my Rabb. I am completely in submission to him. So shouldn't my life be easy? He did not look at it like that. He got into every test completely believing that this is a plan that Allah has for him. He got into this, he fulfilled every test completely with knowing fully well that Allah is in command, having complete confidence in his Rabb, having complete faith that Allah will only bless him with that which is fair, right? Subhanallah. So this was his complete trust in the decree that Allah had for him. So every single test, he got into it, gave himself up completely 100%, and came out of the test getting closer to Allah. Now, this is literally the purpose of tests, sisters. When we are put into situations which are difficult for us, when we are put into, and our life is a test, when we are put into different challenges, different kind of difficulties, they make us stronger. They purify us, and this is why Allah puts us through them, because He is making us stronger for something to be faced on a much bigger scale in the future. He doesn't put us directly into a big test. He puts us into smaller tests and prepares us, makes us stronger, makes us purer, makes our iman stronger, makes our tawakkul stronger, and then he puts us into a bigger test, and then the purification becomes even more better. Subhanallah, because Allah is preparing us, right? We all want Jannah, right? And Jannah does not come in that easy, right? Subhanallah. So we go through processes and processes and processes. We've seen that in the case of gold, right? When you see the gold when it is in its raw form, you wouldn't even take a second look at it. But the kind of processes, the kind of pressure, the kind of cleansing that the gold goes to give you that beautiful, shiny, precious metal. I mean, it doesn't come by just washing it under tap water. It's gone under so many processes, subhanallah. So this is the purpose of tests. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, with every test, he got closer and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So this is the first portion of the ayah where he is tested and he completely submits himself. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him, Qala inni ja'iluka linnasi imama. He says, now since you have, come to a certain level of iman, certain level of, acceptance of your decree, Allah then tells him, now I'm going to make you into an imam. What do you think is imam? What do you understand from the word imam? Who is an imam?
Like a leader or something like that.
Like a
Imam.
leader, right? Like a leader, right? When you're standing in salah in the masjid, what does the imam do and what are you supposed to do?
We follow him.
We follow him. We follow the imam. Even if he makes a mistake, we follow him, right? Isn't that how it is?
Yes.
Yes. So an imam is one whom we follow completely, right? And Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah chose him to be an imam, and that's the reason why, whether it was the Bani Israel, whether it was the Mushrikeen of Arab, whether it is us, Subhanallah, every single person, they give him a lot of importance. He has an honorable name with everybody. People would say, the Jews wouldn't accept the Isa al-Islam, the Christians wouldn't accept the Jews, and the Muslims, they wouldn't accept Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But nevertheless, everybody were okay with Ibrahim al-Islam. Everybody loved, right? Subhanallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose him to be the Imam, right? This was the status that Allah gave him in this dunya. For all the efforts that Ibrahim alayhi salam made, Allah gave him this success in dunya that he made him an imam. What happens once he made him an imam? Qala wa min dhurriyati. Ibrahim alayhi salam, when Allah tells him that I have made you the imam, he says, what about my children? Dhurriyati means children, the offspring, the progeny. What about them? They will also be, they will just take it from me, right? This is how it is supposed to be. He asks for his children what he got for himself, the love that he has for the generations to come. He's like, what about them? Subhanallah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَالَ لَا يَنَالُ عَهْدَ الظَّالِمِينَ. Allah says, this is not a default setting, right? It does not come like, your father is a prophet, so you're also going to be a prophet. No. Prophethood or imamat is something that is given based on the efforts you make, the kind of character that you have, the kind of attitude that you have. All that is important in you being given the status of an imam, because, like you mentioned, the imam is somebody whom people follow. So you need to be really good, subhanallah, to be an imam, and that is not a default setting. So it's the ones who are not good, the ones who are not fair, the ones who are al-zalimin, they cannot be an imam. So this is not a default setting, subhanallah. So Allah didn't accept his dua as is, right? And he did give, a lot of them became prophets, but not all of them. Subhanallah. Now this is for us to contemplate on, right? This is for us to contemplate. It's Ibrahim alayhi salam, and his tests were immense. His efforts were immense. Allah showered him with beautiful names and beautiful title. But there wasn't a default setting where by default his progeny would all take from him what he was blessed with. Right? Subhanallah. This is for us to understand, subhanallah, that imamat, or getting close to Allah, the rewards from Allah, the success from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is based on the efforts each and every one of us make. The amal, the deeds that each and every one of us do, we will be rewarded in accordance to that. Not because our parents were very sincere, not because, our grandparents were very righteous. No. I mean, it helps, right? It gives you something to, something to be inspired. But unless and until we put in our efforts, we cannot get that reward from Allah, that that Allah has for every single one of us based on the efforts that we put in. Unless and until we don't put in, use our resources and do what we have to do for the sake of Allah, we cannot achieve that status of closeness near Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So something for us to contemplate on. Ramadan around the corner. Hope all of you listen to the welcome Ramadan audio. It was amazing, subhanallah. Lots of points for us to take as reminders for ourselves. We are moving. 2 weeks is nothing. It'll just fly past. And we'll already be into Ramadan. Ramadan is like a guest. We wait for a guest, right? We prepare ourselves for a guest. We plan for our guests, right? And when the guest comes in, I mean, you're like, you're so happy the guest is here. But before you realize it's time for the guest to leave, right? Ramadan is very much like that. It comes in, and before you realize, it's gone. I mean, it goes super fast. So unless and until we plan ahead and we keep ourselves focused to make the best of this Ramadan, before we realize, it'll be gone. So it is our time to collect our rewards. It is our time to do the best that we can to gain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is our time to beautify our salah, to strengthen our connection with the Quran, to make plans of how to control our nafs. We have so many things that we can do in Ramadan, which will kind of prepare us for the next 11 months of the year to keep our level of iman high, right? So do work on it. Do start making plans for Ramadan. Do work towards making this your best Ramadan so far. And every Ramadan is supposed to be better than the previous Ramadan. So work on what I'm going to do special this Ramadan to make this Ramadan the best that's gone so far. All right. Do you want to say something? Ayah number 124 before we move on. Ayah number 125. وإذ جعلنا البيت مثابة للناس وأمنا واتخذوا من مقام إبراهيم مصلى وعهدنا إلى إبراهيم وإسماعيل أن طهر بيتي للطائفين والعاكفين والركع السجود. Here, subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding Ibrahim alayhi salam about the Kaaba. Okay, he had commanded him to build the Kaaba. وَإِذْ جَعَلْنَا الْبَيْتَ مَثَابَةً لِلنَّاسِ. He had commanded him to build the Kaaba, and now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling how he is going to take this beautiful structure that Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam made. How is he going to honor it? What is he going to do? He is going to make it a mathaba. The word mathaba comes from the word thawb, which means something that is folded, right? When you're folding clothes, what do? You take the top portion of it and bring it closer to the bottom. You fold from right to left. So you're basically going back and forth and making it into a fold, right? Subhanallah, this is what happens with the Kaaba. Even if you have visited it just once, you can never feel that okay, I'm done with the ritual of coming here. No, it is a place where your heart gets connected. You want to return to it again and again and again, subhanallah. And even if you're not physically coming back to it, if you just think about your salah, every single salah that we pray, we are facing towards the Kaaba, right? We are facing, that is our qibla. So your heart is connected to the Kaaba, to the Qibla, every time you stand for your Salah. So that happens, the minimum number of times is 5, and you can pray how many ever nafil you want. So subhanallah, we are connected, and that is what Allah promised. وَإِذْ جَعَلْنَا الْبَيْتَ مَثَابَةً لِلنَّاسِ. And we made the sacred house a center for the people to return. وَأَمْنًا. And we made this a place of peace. Right, subhanallah. The Kaaba is a place which is the most peaceful place in the world. No other place is safer than Makkah is. Right, subhanallah, it is a place where there is so much of security. No, even though there is a lot of physical security there, you have a lot of checkposts to cross to go into Makkah and into the Kaaba. But Allah has commanded that this place cannot be abused. You cannot do anything wrong over here. There is a certain hurmat of this place. You cannot do anything wrong. Its property cannot be harmed. Nobody can just go and break something in Makkah. It's not allowed. It's not allowed. You cannot do anything of that sort. Even if it is said that even if there is there is a killer on the loose, and a child knows that this is the person who killed his father, he cannot kill him. He'll have to let him go. That is the kind of aman that is there in Makkah. You cannot have bloodshed over there. Even the trees cannot be uprooted. You cannot uproot trees. You cannot kill animals. You cannot do things like this in Makkah. Subhanallah, you cannot do that. So this is a place where there is a lot of peace, a lot of security. You can feel completely. And you must have seen videos, yeah, right? When the time for prayer comes, when the azan is called out, people just leave their shops and go. Nobody closes shops, and nobody puts shutters down, and nobody is putting one big lock and key. Nothing of that sort. They just leave their shops and go. That's it. Nobody would touch anything of anybody else's. That is the sanctuary that Makkah is. And Allah promised this. Amna wa amna. وَاتَّخِذُوا مِن مَقَامِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى. And he said, make this place of Ibrahim alayhi salam a place of prayer. Musalla is where we stand for prayer. So here Allah commanded that this place, the place which Ibrahim alayhi salam stood. There is something called the Maqam Ibrahim in the Haram. Have you all seen that? Do you all know where it is? Anybody knows what is Maqam Ibrahim? Can you all hear me? I'm having absolute silence today.
I hear you. I just don't know where the place is.
Okay, if you have seen the videos of people doing tawaf, you must be seeing a golden dome kind of a thing, which is outside, I mean, a little away from the Kaaba. Must have seen it. And if you zoom in, you will be able to see a sort of a cemented stone inside with footprints on it. Are you all with me?
Yeah, I think I've seen a video of that, like a silver footprint
Yeah,
inside some
inside a
protected.
golden dome.
Yeah.
Yeah, this place is called the Maqam Ibrahim. And after we finish our tawaf, we are expected to go behind this place and pray 2 rakat nafil. This is called the nafil of tawaf. And we are expected to pray here as an honor for the fact that this is the place where Ibrahim alayhi salam stood and he built the Kaaba. And he was standing on a rock when he built the Kaaba, and his height and the height of the Kaaba. So as the building started becoming higher and higher, the stone would also grow. The stone would kind of raise him and bring him down, and raise him up and bring him down, like a miracle, right? And that's how Ibrahim alayhi salam was able to reach that height to whatever the Kaaba is. Right? So, subhanAllah, this stone has been preserved to indicate that, the effort that he made, the sincerity of the effort that he made Allah has preserved it for mankind to see. Right? This is purely because of his sincerity. He did not complain. He did not say, oh, how am I going to do this? Allah commanded him to build. He took his son Ismail with him, and they started building the Kaaba. And he used to place the stones, and Ismail alayhi salam used to hand him the stones. He was standing on this rock, and this rock would go up and down and up and down and up and down. And today you can see that rock with the footprints of Ibrahim alayhi salam within that golden dome, and that is called the Maqam Ibrahim. And we pray here, and Allah has commanded this to become a musalla, a site of prayer. وَأَهِدْنَا إِلَىٰ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْمَاعِيلَ أَن تَحِّرَ. And then what did Allah do? Allah made them promise. He not only made them build it, not only gave honor to honor to that place, he also took this promise from Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam to clean up this place. to make it clean. Why? Because this was going to be a place of worship. And in a place of worship, it is important that we maintain tahara, right? So this is a prophetic ritual. It's not something demeaning to clean up a place, but this is what the prophets did. And subhanallah, Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam cleansed up the place, cleansed up physically and spiritually, removed anything that was that was unclean from that place, so that people could feel that connection, people could feel that purity of connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this place. Subhanallah, they cleansed it of all kinds of najas, any kind of idols, any kind of physical dirt, everything was cleared out, so that this place became like a place of worship. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Ibrahim and Ismail alayhi salam to maintain the cleanliness of the place. For whom? For lit-ta'ifina, the ones who do tawaf. Wal-akifina, ones who do etikaf. Wal-rukka'i sujud, one who do the ruku, and ones who do the sujud. One prayer in the haram is gets the reward of 1,00,000 prayers. SubhanAllah. One prayer, one single prayer. It gives you the reward of like how you've prayed 1,00,000 times. SubhanAllah. Subhanallah. And this place is for whom? For the ones who do tawaf. Tawaf is like one of the most important things that you do here, and this is something that you cannot do anywhere else. Tawaf is something which is very specific to the Kaaba. You cannot do tawaf anywhere else in the world. You can pray wherever you want, right? You can even do etikaf in any masjid that you want. But tawaf is something that is special to the Kaaba. So subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded that this place be cleansed for the ones who do tawaf. What is tawaf, by the way? What do you remember? You must have come across this word.
Tawaf is going around the Kaaba 7 times.
Tawaf is going around the Kaaba, going in circles around the Kaaba 7 times. Right. And what is etikaf? Wal-akifina means etikaf. What does etikaf mean?
Staying in the masjid and worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala,
Yeah.
not coming out of the masjid, just
Right.
being cut out of the worldly things,
Right.
so that you can praise Allah and
Right.
read Quran and recite tasbihat, things like that.
Right. Subhanallah, subhanallah. So that is etikaf, like secluding yourself for the worship of Allah. Again, Ramadan coming around the corner. Subhanallah, the last 10 days, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to spend in the masjid in etikaf. And in the last year of his life, he spent the last 20 days in etikaf. Right? And so etikaf is something which is ideally done in the masjid. But it is a beautiful time to completely seclude yourself. Ideally done in the masjid, but all of us can. I know as women, it's difficult to do that. Just leave your homes and to go and sit in the masjid. That's the ideal situation. But however, if we could all take out certain period of time during our daily routines to completely cut out from anything worldly that's happening around us, and give that time for purely for the sake of Allah, worshipping, remembering Allah, doing the tasbih, doing the zikr, connecting with the Quran. You could put that as a certain time in your everyday as your time to completely focus on just your ibadah. Right. So this etikaf done over here. People do etikaf here. This is a masjid, right? Subhanallah, and masjid is a place for doing etikaf. And the ruku and the sujood, like I mentioned, the indicating of the prayers, that one prayer here has so much more reward than prayer anywhere else in the world. So that is something special, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail salam. Not only did it stop with just building the Kaaba, but to also clean it. And point of reminder for all of us, we have beautiful masjids, not many masjids, but beautiful masjids wherever we stay. And subhanallah, it is upon each and every one of us that we take care of the tahara of the masjid, to look back, to look behind us when we are leaving the masjid. If by mistake we left something, it could be the pins that we use in our scarves. We see that very often, hair clips and pins. You can't even see that in the carpets. The carpets are mashallah so plush, and you cannot see it, but there are. you see pins, you see pieces of tissue, you see all kinds of things, and it doesn't look nice. It's not for the people whose job is to do the vacuuming, but it is it's a responsibility on each and every one of us to maintain the cleanliness of the masjid. Right? It is something prophetic. Subhanallah, subhanallah. So we take care that we are not having open water bottles in the masjid. We are not eating food in the masjid. We are taking care that if we take children with us, we are making sure that there's no droppings of anything. Children are children. Subhanallah. It is up to us that we take care of it. But definitely to take the children should be taken to the masjid, but take care of taking care of the cleanliness bit of it. And inshallah, with Ramadan, give do volunteer in the masjid that's closest to you, to take part in the cleanliness of it, to take part in the maintenance of it. It is something that the prophets did, subhanallah, and we want to do as many good deeds as possible during Ramadan. So it's just not about us praying, us fasting. That is our ibadah. But what are we doing for the masjids? I mean, this thing that we pray when we go into the masjid, the 2 rakat nafil that we pray called tahiyatul masjid, is like a gift to the masjid, right? Subhanallah, that's like a tahiyya, a gift to the masjid, and it is mandated on us that we should pray. This is the haqq of the masjid, right? Subhanallah. So keeping it clean is also our responsibility. So do volunteer, give a bit of your time, give your names in, ask the masjid what kind of routines they have. It is going to be Ramadan. Masjids will have iftars. Give your name to volunteer a certain amount of hours to your local masjid so that you can be part of the community here. Right. Anything you'd like to add before we move on? Okay. Ayah number 126. وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبِّ اجْعَلْ هَذَا بَلَدًا آمِنًا وَارْزُقْ أَهْلَهُ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ مَنْ آمَنَ مِنْهُمْ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. So this is another dua that Ibrahim alayhi salam is asking, and the dua that he asked previously about making his offsprings into to give them prophethood, Allah did not accept it completely. So now what did he do? Quickly he changed. He said he's asking for to make this place of Makkah where the Kaaba is, to provide provisions, to have food supplied in this place, to have provisions brought into this place. Now Makkah is a desert. Nothing grows in Makkah, but subhanallah, if you go there, you will find fruits and vegetables and food of every place of the world in that place. Subhanallah, that's how blessed that place is. You will find fruits from everywhere in that place. Right? It's just not dates. You'll find the most exotic fruits in Makkah, right? Subhanallah. So here Ibrahim alayhi salam asked, because if you have to go live in a place, you need food, right? So he asked Allah to provide fruits to that place, and then he made his dua like this. For whom should you provide? He asks Allah this dua, that you provide to those who believe, who bring iman, and who believe in Allah and who believe in the last day, because Allah had said no, it's not a default setting, right? You cannot have prophets out of your progeny just because they are your progeny. So now he changed it. He said no, you provide only for them who believe in you and who believe in the last day, that is, they are on iman, then you give it to them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, what about the ones who don't believe? What about the ones who do kufr? وَمَنْ كَفَرَ? What did he do? Subhanallah, this is Allah's mercy. He says, فَأُمَتِّعُهُ قَلِيلًا. I will give them also. I will benefit them also, right? But what? قَلِيلًا. Very little. I will not give them too much. I will give them very little. Now, what does this very little mean? It means I will only give them in dunya. The dunya compared to the akhirah is not more than the wing of a fly, right? Subhanallah. So that's the value of dunya compared to the akhirah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I will give them, because food, risk is the right of everyone. Every creation is provided risk, right? Subhanallah. This is Allah's mercy. No matter what you do, no matter how disobedient you are, no matter how ungrateful you are, Allah still provides. This is His mercy. But Allah puts in this condition here that for the ones who do not, who are doing kufr, who do not believe in me, and who do not believe in the akhirah, then what is it? They only get as much risk as is needed for them in the dunya, and nothing for them in the akhirah. ثم أضطره إلى عذاب النار. And then what will I do? I will torment them with the punishment of the hellfire. وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرُ. And what a difficult torment this is. What a difficult place of return this is. Right, subhanallah. Now, what's beautiful about this ayah is Ibrahim alayhi salam's dua, right? He immediately catches on, right? When Allah says, he does not say, "Oh, why did Allah reject my dua? Oh, why did I not? Why did I ask? I asked for something and Allah said, no, it cannot be like that." No, he said, "Okay, fine. That is Allah's decree. That is how Allah has decided to do it, and I'm perfectly all right with it. Now let me ask for the next thing." Right, subhanallah, he built the Kaaba. He made this place a place of, he brought a place where people could come for worship. And he didn't leave it like that. Now he asks Allah, make this a place of security. Make this a place where there is provision for people. Make this a place which is comfortable for people to come, so that they can come here, so that they can live here, so that they can worship you. Subhanallah, he thought, look at the vision that he had. What kind of du'as he made, right? He had such a far-fetched vision. And inshallah, when we go to the next dua, you'll see how far his vision went. Right? Subhanallah, this was the beauty of his duas. And subhanallah, this is the beauty. You will find such duas in the sunnah, the masnoon duas that are called. Subhanallah, they encompass so much within those few words. That is why it is encouraged to learn the Arabic duas, to learn the duas from the sunnah, because these prophetic duas, they encompass so much which we are not able to express in our mother tongues or in English. We would, to explain one Arabic word which has got so much of depth, we might have to use a whole phrase of English, but we'd still not get that exact meaning of Arabic. So tell yourselves, this Ramadan, I'm going to learn a few duas. Put it in your list of duas that you want to learn. Few duas, it depends on each and every person, our capacity. And it's not about Allah looking at, okay, she learned 10 duas and why couldn't you? No, Allah is not looking at that. Allah is looking at how much effort each one of us is putting. So if it means even learning one dua this Ramadan, one special dua this Ramadan in Arabic, and making that a part of our dua routines, subhanallah, Allah is very appreciative of the efforts that we make. Right, sisters? So we will all learn at least one, minimum one, maximum whatever we can, of Arabic duas, masnoon duas in this Ramadan, so that it becomes a part of our routine. Right, subhanallah, anything you'd like to say? Why is dua important, sisters? What is the importance? Is it important for us to make dua? Doesn't Allah already know what we want? Do we have to ask Him for it?
It's so that we can actually have a closer relationship to Allah, because it is said that He doesn't need us, but we definitely need Him.
Right. To get a closer connection with Allah. What else? Why do we ask dua?
Dua is a form of worship as well, because we are asking Allah with the certainty that He is there, He exists, and we are asking Him to help us out with our problems. So it is a form of worship.
Form of worship. All right. So it builds a certain connection. It is a form of worship. What else? What else can you add to this? Why dua? Allah likes it when we ask Him for it. It's not that Allah doesn't know. He knows exactly what we need. He knows what's running in our hearts. Right, subhanallah. But when we ask Allah, whom do we ask? We ask because we know Allah can give. We ask because Allah has the qudra to give. And we know that Allah's treasures are so immense that no matter what, it is said that even if He had to answer all our duas, the duas of every single human beings, His treasures will not decrease even by a little bit. right? So we know that. We know how vast his treasures are. And so when we ask dua, we are indicating that I cannot do this. It's not possible for me. I am incapable of doing this. But then you can help me do it. You can give this to me. You can bless me with this. If this is good for me, you give me this. So you're expressing your humility, and this position of humility is literally the most honorable position near Allah. The fact that we turn to Allah in dua is an indication of our status as an abd. And Allah loves it. Allah loves it, subhanAllah. So the dua it is said as it's the weapon of a believer, right? It's something that is more powerful than anything else, than the most advanced machinery or anything in technology. It is more powerful than that dua, that connection that we achieve, our heart connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is stronger than anything else in the world. Nothing comes close to it, and that's in our hands, right? That's with us. We can ask dua any state, standing, sitting, lying down, anywhere. You don't need to be in a state of wudu. You don't need to be, wearing your prayer dress. You don't need to do anything. You can ask constantly. You can ask Allah, and Allah can never gets tired. When we ask human beings for something, you ask them once, twice, thrice, they get bored, they get angry, they get irritated. But Allah doesn't. He just loves it that we ask him again and again and again. And the fact that we ask him again and again, subhanAllah, is something that is important for our du'as to be answered. The consistency with which we ask, that indicates our need. That indicates that I really want this. Right? Subhanallah. Right? So Allah loves it. Allah loves it. Subhanallah. So that is something special that we have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That special connection that we have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So dua is very, very important. Dua, Ramadan nights coming up, subhanallah, use it for duas. Connect with your Rabb. Make that strong connection. Sit on your musalla. Don't get up after your salah immediately. Have that conversation with your Rabb. And it can be, once you have said your salam, you can go into whatever language you're comfortable with. Talk to Allah. Cry to Allah. Ask Him. Right? Subhanallah. Plead with Him. He loves it. This is something that we can remember to make our Ramadan better this time. Right? All right. Going on. Sister Hajra, can we do another ayah?
Yeah, inshallah, we'll do one more ayah and then inshallah we can end it.
All right. Ayah number 127. وَإِذْ يَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ الْقَوَاعِدَ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ وَإِسْمَاعِيلُ رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. MashaAllah, this is such a beautiful ayah. Right? Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam are building the Kaaba, and they have built the Kaaba, and the Kaaba is built the way Allah commanded them to build it. Right? They have used their energies and their time, and they're doing it only for Allah's sake. They don't want any worldly benefit out of it. Makkah, by the way, at that time nobody is living there. Nobody. It's a barren desert. Nobody knows. Nobody is living there to praise them or give them welcome or whatever. Nothing. They are doing it purely for Allah's sake, right? Subhanallah, right? There is no chance of riyah there. There's no chance of show off there. Nothing, right? They're doing it purely for Allah's sake. But then what do? After they have done this, after they have raised the foundation of this house, what did they say? What did they do? They ask for dua. They say Rabbana. This word Rabbana is very, very special. Right? Rabbana is an indication that you are our creator, you are our owner, you can do whatever you want with us, but we are asking you to accept. We are calling you by this amazing name of Rabbana, and we are asking you to accept this dua from us. What is the dua that they make? Rabbana, Rabbana taqabbal minna. Accept this from us. What could be the reason for not accepting it? I mean, they've done everything only the way as per whatever Allah told them to do. Why wouldn't Allah accept it? Did they have to ask for it? Taqabbal minna. Accept this from us. Innaka anta sami'ul alim. You're the one who is all hearing and all knowing. You know everything that we have gone through. You know everything, the whispers that the whatever we have spoken, whatever has gone through our hearts, you know that. Subhanallah. So if for some reason there was some feeling of, dissatisfaction, some feeling of, feeling tiredness, or some feeling of, oh, this is so difficult, anything, you've heard it. Forgive us and accept this from us. Imagine how strong this is, subhanAllah. And this is something that we all say when we are done with Ramadan, right? After the 30 days of fasting, we say the same thing. Taqabbal minna wa minkum, right? We ask Allah to accept this from us. Right, subhanallah. So we do it with complete sincerity of our heart. We do it with complete connection with our Rabb. Our intention is only to gain His pleasure. But yes, we are human beings. We might falter. We might get some feelings in our heart which kind of messes up the deed a little bit. So we ask Allah to accept it. We plead with Allah to accept it. We ask Allah to forgive even the smallest of shortcomings that might have come in the way and accept this effort, this broken effort, however it is. We are human beings. That's all we can do. But we ask Allah to accept it. We ask Allah to take it from us and, reward us for the effort that we have put in. Right, this is a beautiful dua, and this is something that we all hold on to, right? The word Rabbana is something that the Arabs used very often, in a way, attaching that to any dua kind of makes the dua a lot more stronger. So there are many Rabbana duas. Anything that comes to your mind? Any Rabbana dua that comes to your mind? Rabbana basically is a way of acceptance of dua, because you are calling out to Allah by His beautiful accepting the rububiyat of Allah, right? So Subhanallah, it is this the Salafi Salihin, they used to prefer making duas using Rabbana. Okay, coming back, any dua that comes immediately to your mind with starting with Rabbana.
ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Oh Allah, grant me the best in this dunya and then best in the hereafter, and protect us from the fire.
Protect us from the fire, subhanallah. And this is one of the duas that Rasulullah made a lot. This is one of his most recited duas, right? And this is a dua wherein you are asking for both the best of dunya, the best of akhirah. You're not like, saying, okay, I do not want dunya. Allah has told me to an akhirah oriented person, so I'll only ask for akhirah. No, Allah has put you in this dunya so that you can enjoy the blessings of the dunya. But when you're asking for hasana, khair, in the beauty of the dunya, you are asking for Allah so that you can only stay in that balance. You're not going to exaggerate. You're not going to go beyond your limits, but to take the beauty of the dunya and the beauty of the akhirah. The best of dunya, the best of akhirah. Beautiful dua. Anybody else wants to share?
The thing I like about Ibrahim alayhi salam's dua is like he used to think, he was a visionary. He used to think about the progeny. So after I learned this, then I started to make dua for my progeny. I don't know if my children will get married. I don't know if we live that long. I don't know what's going to happen, but Allah knows. And my job is to make dua. Oh Allah, make my progeny Muslims. Oh Allah, make them obedient to you and make them do things pleasing to you. So this is something I learned from Ibrahim alayhi salam's dua.
Yes, awesome. Yes, his duas were something, mashallah, mashallah. They encompassed so much within them, and yes, like Sister Hajra is mentioning, it has a vision. He just didn't make duas for that present moment, but for with a very long sightedness. Subhanallah, Subhanallah. Allah give us the tawfiq to make beautiful duas. This dua is also something that Allah puts in our heart. When we want something and we want it bad, subhanAllah, the dua comes to you as well. The dua comes, the exact dua that you want to make, subhanAllah, comes to you. But for that, the connection needs to be strong. There are many beautiful duas. as you are reciting the Quran, as you are going through the Quran, you can mark du'as which start with Rabbana, and that will be your connection with the Quran as well. That wherever Rabbana comes, you kind of get this connection that this is a dua, and it has been mentioned that this is one of the ways of acceptance of duas, of starting it with Rabbana. So it kind of builds your connection with, and that particular dua builds your connection with that ayah, right? All right, sisters, anything you want to add to this before we wind up for today? Right. All right, so inshallah, we'll keep you all updated about next week's class, inshallah, and we'll connect, inshallah. Keep yourselves busy. Keep your planning strong. Do make your little journals. Ramadan is the best way to make the best of Ramadan is to plan. So do make your plans. Write down small duas. Write down things you want to do, so that as we enter Ramadan, as we are moving towards Ramadan, we are prepared to make the best of it. Right. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.